First time in a long time, but back like I never left. Taking each day as it comes, you know me, I don't read ahead. Watch me burn down everything, BDE on the TV set. When I'm in control on the road, you can never really know what's up next.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for upNXT. You found us at postwrestling.com, whatever podcast app you're using right now in the Post Wrestling feed. And it's Tuesday, which means
we are live on youtube.com/postwrestling. Hello, YouTube room. How are we doing?
Hello, YouTube room. We are back. Your NXT friends. Reunited here on a Tuesday night. The WrestleMania season, the wrestling never stops, whether it's WWE, AEW, or NXT. There's always wrestling on the TV, and we're going to talk tonight about some NXT Revenge.
Yes, this was news to me today. I was doing a bit of a catch up and watching Stand and Deliver, watching a few things from NXT that I've missed. And we've already got another premium live event, kind of another named show, NXT Revenge. This is what NXT's equivalent of Backlash, I guess.
Yeah,
rematch NXT kind of thing.
The Backlash, the rematch, I felt like because they've been doing what they did, No Mercy, the video game. Maybe they just WCW Revenge. I don't know, but it's definitely like the Backlash, like WrestleMania Revenge Tour or whatnot. So week one, that means next week they will also have an NXT show. I assume they're pre-taping it next week. I think that's what we were saying last week. I didn't necessarily look that up, or I wasn't told anything, but I'm imagining with everyone being in Las Vegas. I mean, I guess it's Tuesday. You could fly back from Vegas to Florida pretty quickly, but usually.
Also, why are they in Vegas?
They have a bunch of matches. You've been away, man. You need to catch up. Get the net. A lot of the NXT guys are going to be wrestling in Vegas. They have matches announced, and they have WWE World where they're going to be doing a lot of like autographs and stuff. But I think that also was part of them moving Stand and Deliver. Because then the talent can actually do stuff, can actually go to WrestleMania, can actually like be part of it and that whole access kind of thing. But it's still another show next week, but I haven't necessarily looked up that if it is pre-taped, but Tuesday gives them enough time. They can figure it out. So I was assuming around this time with WrestleMania and the Raw after Mania and everything that we might be getting some call-ups, and I'm sure that we'll be definitely talking about that maybe next week.
They've kind of done their call-ups, haven't they? Like a pre-Mania call-up. There's already, I think we're always looking at Ethan Page and Jacy and Fallon as like candidates who have kind of been there too long now, and it's now or never really. But I wonder if there's any more than that coming out of WrestleMania.
Well, we'll see. I'm sure there is. I hope there is. There's definitely some people on this show that we've been calling for. Like, hey, it's about time you show up on the big leagues and show the people what you got. So it's always an exciting time. Not as exciting as the build to WrestleMania this year, which I know you were away, but did you watch any wrestling while you were away on your downtime?
Mainly on like flights and things, and just been sort of catching up with some angles on Twitter and that kind of stuff. But not necessarily been watching whole shows front to back like I normally do. But I've been keeping up with it.
We usually go off about the Raw and everything, but WrestleMania being such a big thing this weekend, not only here at Post Wrestling do we have shows every single day. John and Way are going overkill here with the one show a day, 2 shows, 3 shows sometimes a day. And we're going to be part of it because tomorrow we will be going live with John and Way for a very special WrestleMania edition of a podcast where we'll talk about some best and worst of WrestleMania moments and whatnot. So here are lovely voices right here on this feed tomorrow or Wednesday, I guess, at 1 as we join John away to talk all about some good WrestleMania, and I'm sure a little bit of a preview.
The best and worst of WrestleMania. Yeah, looking forward to this. Have you done your homework yet?
Yeah, I did it on my flight was delayed, so I was rushing home I just have to make it home to watch NXT so badly. But I was delayed a bit, so I was like watching some old stuff and creating a little bit of a list. Some jumped out instantly, some not so much. So we'll talk all about it. But everyone's in the WrestleMania season, whether you feel it or not. Give yourself the green light. But we have decided we're going to do a little bit of a WrestleMania preview as well. So maybe we'll save our Raw and SmackDown chat and WrestleMania chat for this Thursday over on the Poisonrana live feed. Search Poisonrana Pod in your Spotify, Apple, YouTube, whatever you use. Give us a follow. There's tons of free shows that we do. We just did our AEW Dynasty show literally right after attending AEW Dynasty in Vancouver. We recorded it while walking out the venue, walking around downtown, heading to some bars after the show and the press conference. That's up on our free feed to hear our immediate thoughts of Dynasty from this weekend. But this Thursday, probably sometime in the afternoon, evening, we'll have up our WrestleMania 42 big preview show. We'll probably talk about this Wednesday's Dynamite and stuff as well. But yeah, big WrestleMania show. Give us a follow and follow the socials as well, because we haven't necessarily nailed the time, but we'll hook you up with a big preview for WrestleMania. So that'll be out Thursday afternoon, evening time. So yeah, big preview for WrestleMania. We'll give all the thoughts. I wanted to ask you if you, I can't remember the last time we did one of these like this, but I want to say that we were probably having a discussion where I was like, Davie, there's just too much jelly roll. And now a few weeks later, Davie, there's just too much Pat McAfee. There's just too much celebrities.
I feel I hopped on a flight to go from Canada to Asia. Like I had a layover in China and then landed in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh City. And I kind of turn on my phone and I'm like, we're getting Seth Rollins versus Gunther now. Where did that come from? Mm-hmm. We've got a 7-man ladder match. Where did this come from? And then I'm on a beach where I see, Pat McAfee. We'll be getting into all of it. I'm sure like it. I'd like to kind of like go through each match as well. Like it's we're gonna get our probably hatred out of this whole angle, this whole Pat McAfee thing. But I also already feel exhausted about it, and I haven't even talked about it yet. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's been the whole discourse around this Mania. But yeah, we'll try and go. We'll try and maybe find some positives as well in this card. I do think on paper, I think some of these matches are going to really deliver, and I think after the show we might be, you know what, that was all right. But man, this build has been rough, and yes, we'll be getting all into it. So if you're not subscribed already, go and subscribe. youtube.com/@PoisonRanaPod. We will be putting our preview show up for free on there. And if you haven't subscribed to our audio feed yet, where you can find our Dynasty review, just search for Poison Rana wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, the wrestling never stopped. We decided the Vegas prices were too high, and we're not that big fans of jelly roll, so we decided to stick to our own country and went to Vancouver. And it was a little bit of a makeshift WrestleMania weekend with an AEW Dynasty. There was a bunch of indie shows. If you are subscribed to our Patreon, you'll hear some of our Snap Ranas where we talked about attending mystery wrestling, plus all the fun stuff we got up into I went to Edmonton. You were away. We still have to do a big show. We're probably going to record for the Patreon, a big catch up where we can talk about your trip and whatnot. So lots of fun stuff over on the Patreon. If you haven't checked us out already, $5 a month. It's WrestleMania season, which means it's the anniversary of when we started doing this thing a few years back. So check out all the other shows. And if you want to laugh, check out our Snap Ranas from, where did we record? In a gondola?
In a gondola, like 1,000 feet in the air, it felt like.
In mountains. Really the coolest podcast setting we've ever recorded in, quite possibly. So check that out as well. But yes, lots of stuff with WrestleMania week, including postwrestling.com. So all the content you need for the WrestleMania week. But kind of before everything, we did talk about Dynasty. We love the show. You can hear all our thoughts, like we said. But once again, shout out to anyone on the West Coast that we maybe got to meet or hang out with or say hi to. There was so many tons of friends in the West Coast of Canada, people traveling in from other cities as well for that event. So I always want to say thanks to people out there, and it's fun sometimes to meet them face to face. And I always got the Poisonrana stickers on me and everything. So, and especially Andre from Edmonton, real long time listener of not even upNXT, but like what's next and beyond. So really was cool to meet you too, dude. So all the love to the not only NXT friends, but the Poisonrana friends out there. So who knows? We won't be going on a wrestling adventure for a little while, but maybe we'll be going all in. Maybe, possibly.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah.
I'm hoping so. This this fuel crisis and my bank account is telling me otherwise, but I do need to get over there for that time of year.
So guys, patreon.com/Poisonrana, $5. If everyone goes and subscribes, then we'll definitely be able to go to All In. So no flights, but somehow John Pollock has booked a flight before us because we were the ones being like, John, you have to come. You gotta go. You gotta go.
I was so close to pulling the trigger and then didn't, and then certain world events have affected things. But yeah, that is the plan. My brother's actually going to be having a baby that week, or like scheduled to have a baby that week. So I'll be an uncle. So I kind of have to be there, whether the wrestling's going on or not. So I'll find a way.
Exactly. So patreon.com/Poisonrana, Poisonrana.ca for links of everything. We are doing a 2-night WrestleMania watch party this weekend. I'll tell you to go to the website to get tickets, but we're sold out. We are packing them in at the National downtown in the Well. I went to the Vancouver equivalent of the Well today. It's like the same thing. They made the same thing. It's like, there's so many things in all these cities, and not even just in Canada. You go to the States.
You went to National as well?
No, I didn't go to the National, but I saw like the Well or whatever they call it thing over there. But yeah, similar thing. But we're gonna have fun this weekend. If you are listening, you're coming to the WrestleMania watch party. Definitely say hi. We're gonna have tons of fun. We got some belts to give away. We're gonna do some games, some big things happening at the Poisonrana parties in Toronto. So really excited about that. We may have more tickets sold than the actual WrestleMania. Come this Saturday.
We don't need Pat McAfee to come and just shit on our product to sell tickets. Can you imagine? Yeah. Hey, Poisonrana is shit. upNXT is shit. Go to their event. That's what they're saying.
I mean, some people do say that about us. They're like, those guys kind of suck, but they do know how to party, I guess. But
some of them were sat in the presser with us. But
well. Like I said, we have lots of stuff to cover. We have so many other shows going. So we'll jump into NXT and keep thoughts for WrestleMania week coming up. So again, follow the socials, Insta, all that stuff at Poisonrana Pod. But where are you at with NXT? Did you spend any time on a beach watching NXT?
So I pretty much did my catch up with NXT today. The couple of episodes before Stand and Deliver, all I watched was the Kendall Gray Lola Vice match because I saw that was getting a lot of buzz. I agreed. I thought it was excellent match. Stand and Deliver, I watched and enjoyed, but I know it's not Mania weekend. I know it's in a smaller venue and things like that. But that aside, it didn't quite hit with me. I'm really happy with Lola winning and becoming champion. I think they fumbled the build for this one though, because Lola, I thought when they did her sort of first couple of matches with Jacy, seemed really hot. They were doing, those videos showing her with her dad and all that. And I just thought this moment would have felt more if it was just one-on-one. If you're not going with Kendall Gray right now, I think you should have just held off the Kendall Gray stuff and just focused on Lola. Had her dad there, have it like I think it could have felt more feel good than it did. Because I think Kendall's picked up a lot of steam since this kind of program started. So I thought like it was fine. I thought it was a fine show. It was hard to get into because I did know some of the results. I'm happy Tony D'Angelo won. I think we predicted that, thought that was the right move. Just hating this whole Johnny Gargano thing. I thought he had a fine match with Miles Bourne, but it wasn't Johnny Takeover, was it? And this whole story, it's just like, I think it stinks. His whole like in the rut, like trying to find himself, the planking and all that. It's really not working. And for a takeover, NXT PLE Johnny Gargano match, I thought it was fine. Miles Bourne's doing well, but like didn't particularly bring back fuzzy memories of Johnny of the past. I think that's the like, okay, I think that's where I was joined by John Pollock, and we kind of said the same thing. It was like, yeah, it was fine. It wasn't a bad show. It just also like wasn't necessarily the most exciting and wasn't necessarily the most like must watch. Like it doesn't feel like it's the big show that they promoted as. Maybe taking it away from WrestleMania season. Maybe that does have something to do with it. It didn't feel like this was the season finale, right? Which I think WrestleMania and in the past Standard Delivers or the NXT shows around WrestleMania time have been the season finale. So they're your big peaks. The very fact that we're getting these like revenge matches, you know, you're saving the stipulation for Zarya and Soul for TV, whereas I think that should have maybe been more of a violent match between those two. It was fine. Like I can't say there was anything bad on it that I recall, but just didn't have the feeling of Standard Delivers of the past.
Yeah, I do feel with all the different wrestling, I still feel like NXT hasn't caught that like that wave that it once had, you know, like I still think that maybe it's not the most watched wrestling show or not the most important wrestling show to a lot of fans.
It serves a completely different purpose now, right? Like it used to be, hey, I want to watch really good wrestling, similar to the stuff I see on the indies, but with production and all that every week on TV. AEW's taken that now. And I think since focusing more as a developmental brand, it's produced more stars than it did during Black and Gold. Like I think it's a better pipeline to go to the main roster, but you're not necessarily watching it if you're a fan of that style, like that old style of wrestling. You're seeing it now as a curiosity of what characters are going to get over and move to the main roster. So it doesn't necessarily scratch that itch that it used to for fans like us who really like enjoy the in-ring stuff.
It was the alternative to WWE as WWE product still.
Yeah.
So, and now
Triple H created AEW basically for a few years and it was called NXT. And now they're all over there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, maybe Johnny can go be elite with all his friends down the line, but I don't know. Something tells me he's going to stay there forever. But I feel like NXT's kind of in the same thing. Yeah. The purpose of this show is to create new people. It's not necessarily to be the alternative to WWE like it was at one point. So I do understand. And it has been successful. Look at all the people who are on WrestleMania this year, who were on Stand and Deliver last year. 3 big stars in 3 big matches this year. So, right? Like the main event last year, the 3-way, and now they're all in big matches. So like, that's pretty cool. Right.
And as they should they were singing that on this week's episode. Like, hey, we've got 3 Stand and Deliver main eventers in WrestleMania this year.
So next year's WrestleMania, in some of the matches, we'll
get Tony D'Angelo versus Brock Lesnar. We'll get Ethan Page in a ladder match. We'll get
Shiloh Hill.
Well, I'm thinking of the main event specifically.
Shiloh Hill. What are you
Shiloh Hill? Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what the point of NXT is, though, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know if it was last week necessarily or one of the shows. Shout out Jack, by the way, for filling in.
Yes, thank you very much, Jack and John.
Respect to Jack
stepping up.
We were discussing, like, you know, NXT before sometimes like a Johnny and a Ciampa, they already burned through their best stuff in NXT, and by the time they got to the main roster, whereas people today, like I'll just use as a reference, if a Shiloh Hill were to evolve his character once he got to the main roster, then and that's what we're seeing now. Not everyone just, blowing their load early. Sorry. But like,
I think that with like, it would have been so easy to do a like Fallon and Jacy split, wouldn't it, during this run? And at this point, I think, no, like, let's try and establish them as a tag team on the main roster. Hopefully they get over, and hopefully you can tell that story again. I felt the whole run with Gargano and Ciampa, they were just hoping one day that they'll catch enough steam that people will like them enough on the main roster that you can do the breakup angle. But they were never to that level. So you kind of, and you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube with a lot of it, can you?
Yeah, and the same with like characters, like the character works of people. If you've already done it, then you can't go back. You have to only evolve. And well, I don't know. Yeah. Again, NXT serves its purpose and it has been working. It's just maybe the show is sometimes a rocky watch. I guess, as you can hear us talk about every week, because boy, do we love this show so much. But there you go. That was your few weeks in a nutshell of you catching up on some NXT. But here we are with NXT Revenge.
Yes, let's do it. NXT Revenge from April the 14th, 2026. Can you believe it? It's April already. Love it. We kick things off with Kelani Jordan versus Jaida Parker. This feud, it feels like it's been going on for a while, because this was happening before I went away. So a lot of build to this one. We get a gator roll early on from Jaida, and then both run into a double clothesline on the floor as we go to a commercial break. Kelani then starts to attack the legs, and she's just removing the legs from underneath Jaida. She's wrapping the knee around the steel ring post. Jaida starts to come back with a big German suplex, but as she's kind of doing it, Kelani pulls away the middle turnbuckle pad. Kelani is then beating down on Jaida and kind of not letting her get back on her feet as she's talking trash. There's the RVD style step over heel kick from Kelani. And then Jaida gets Kelani draped in the corner with the teardrop. I did enjoy hear her selling, where she will normally do the teardrop and then do the high step. But she just did the high step with her arms because she's like, nah, my legs are fucked. So just do that.
And then Booker's do double booking his giggity lately.
Yeah, and he's moved that as well to Lola, it seems.
Yeah, he's just losing his mind at the high step when she's doing that. He got mad at Vic at one point because Vic interrupted him. He's like, "Can't you see I'm vibing?"
Yeah,
right now. The next time you say something and interrupt, can't you see I'm vibing? Okay, he didn't say it like that. Can't you see I'm vibing? That's probably what
I think I put something like that in my Google review for a certain bar in Vancouver, but you'll have to tune in to the Patreon to hear about that story.
Bitch, don't kill my vibe.
Kelani rolls to the floor, and as Jaida goes after her, she rams her into the ring apron, rolls her into the ring, and Kelani hits a slingshot cutter, but only a 2 count. She then climbs up top, hits a high cross, but this gets rolled through, and Jaida attempts a power slam, but this gets countered by Kelani, and that counter gets countered into a Falcon Arrow from Jaida, and then she sets her up in the corner, runs and goes for the hypnotic, but Kelani gets out the way, and Jaida rams her hip into the exposed turnbuckle. She then turns around, eats a super kick, allowing Kelani Jordan to hit the split-legged moonsault, the one of the kind, for the win.
That slingshot cutter was maybe something Kelani picked up in TNA. Isn't that what
Kazarian?
Yeah, he always does that, like the slingshot one. It's pretty cool. She's always coming up with cool, innovative moves like Kelani. I really like the creativeness of when it comes to that, because she's always adding new things in her repertoire. But this was fine. I don't know if it got to like a better than the last one, but I feel like as much as Jaida Parker is really over and connects with the Performance Center crowd, I don't know if necessarily her wrestling has stepped up. Just like I said about Kelani, she still just does like an ass attack in the corner, and I I'm still not seeing like maybe where I'm seeing the advancements or evolution. I'm not saying I'm not a fan of Miss Parker.
Jaida,
yeah. Like I still think she's got it, and she's definitely like has improved over time. But when I just say the same thing about Kelani, where it's like over time she keeps like getting better and impressing, I feel like Jade is still kind of in that same level as she kind of maybe was, and I'm not sure necessarily what it is that I think is missing, if that makes sense. But
Jada's got a confidence that isn't like, you don't see everyone has that kind of confidence right away.
She's got it. Yeah, she's got it.
And for WWE, I think she's like fine in the ring, but I agree, like she hasn't got the most exciting like moveset in the world. But I do start to see maybe the in between the moves is what she's good at, right? It's the Stone Cold Kevin Owens thing of just always be running your mouth, always like fill in those gaps between what you're doing. And I think Jada's very good at that. And I think this heel turn's been good for Kelani because she was too squeaky clean. And I think this has got a bit more confidence in her. And I'd like to see sort of when she eventually turns back babyface, kind of keep some of that confidence and swag about her, because it's, as you say, she's getting better and better. I think she's one of the best in ring in NXT. And I feel these two, we had sort of the like lineup of future challenges for Lola at the end of the show. And I'm surprised that Kelani's not one of them. And that makes me think maybe that's not the end of this feud between these two, if you're not pushing at least one of them up into that main title mix.
It kind of sounded like this was a quasi number one contenders match. They said it like, hey, the winner of this might get him.
But don't you think Kelani would have come out in the crowd at the end when you had Izzy and Kendall?
Well, maybe
the rest?
Maybe that was done purposely, but like I didn't think too much of this match. I think this was the first match of wrestling where we spent a long weekend of watching a lot of wrestling, so maybe I was just a little bit wrestled out, but I felt like this was a step down from the last time these two tangled, which was only a few weeks ago. But
I thought they had a nice aggression with each other. I'm just ready for both these two to move on to bigger things, hopefully. We see Shiloh Hill, who's got like a list with him that he's reading out, and Ricky Saints approaches and asks what he's building, because he's kind of got a list of all these tools and things he wants. And he goes, "What are you building? A time machine?" Shiloh laughs and goes, "Does this look like a superconductor? If I was making a time machine, it would have been ready by last week." Little time joke there. And says that it's something for Tatum. This is when Ethan Page walks in and tells Ricky, "We need to talk. Things got out of hand." And Page says he wants to offer an olive branch. He says, "Divided, we are distracted, but together we are powerful. So if you help me, I can help you. Help me so I can help you. Help me become NXT champion, and you'll get the first crack of it." And they both say, "I'm sorry." They hug, and they do this thing now where they breathe in the hug. So for now, Ricky and Ethan back on the same page.
Yeah, for now, I guess. I don't see either of these guys being NXT champion again, but I kind of see these two on the main roster together, if that makes sense. Absolute Ego coming soon to SmackDown or Raw post Mania, because all the stuff they do would definitely get over the hug thing you just described. Like, there you go. That would definitely work.
I don't think these two, like their dissension shouldn't be like a Zarya Soul dissension where it's eventually going to be a match. They should just be, hey, we're heels. We're going to screw each other over sometimes. We're selfish, but we'll work together. But if I have a chance of winning over you, I'm screwing you. And I think that's quite fun. And I think they're both talented enough to be able to pull off that kind of dynamic. I'd love them on the main roster as a unit, I think.
And what kind of time machine was Shiloh Hill building? Like less of a DeLorean, more of a what's that one? The Guy Pearce one?
The hot tub time machine?
Oh, that would be the best one. Get what's his name? Damian Priest involved.
Well, he did say it wasn't a time machine. So, but maybe the casket could turn into a time machine.
Spoilers.
That would be cool. Kind of close the casket and then you wake up in
casket time machine. Imagine every time someone gets put into a casket, they're just actually
they then wake up and open the lid and Yokozuna's there or whatever. It's like, whoa, you've gone in time to another casket match.
That's how reincarnation starts.
Absolutely. We get NXT Focus. We've got 2 of these on this show, and this is covering the feud between Sol Ruca and Zarya. And Sol is basically going through the feud from her point of view and says that last year they both went for gold at Stand and Deliver for the North American title. And she explains like winning the 2 titles and then hurting her knee when they went for the tag titles because she wanted Zarya to be a champion as well, and brings up all the like miscommunication and the spears to each other and the soul snatchers to each other, brings up the knee injury. So she'd let Zarya defend her championship for her. And then Zarya throwing the towel in her return match, and her saying she knows that Zarya was jealous and she wanted to be champion to feel superior to me. And she assures us, I know I was a good friend.
Yeah. This feud, I mean, you watched and deliver. Like the first match, we kind of is fine. It didn't get to like big grudge match kind of levels. So if it was only a stepping stone to get to this, which I would imagine ends this feud if it's a last woman standing match, but something tells me we could even go another step further with these 2, but I don't know.
Yeah, I found Sol's delivery here so dull. Like, I like the idea of this Focus, actually, just kind of showing us the same events, but from a different perspective, because I think a lot of people during this feud have sided with Zarya more. Yes, she's been letting her, like, jealousy show, but Sol hasn't been great in it either, has she? As a friend or whatever. I just found Sol... I know it's, like, the chill surfer gimmick thing, but you need to be a bit more dynamic when talking, I think. And I found her delivery here was pretty poor and kind of put me to sleep a little bit.
Is that like when RVD would just be way too chill?
Yeah. You know? And it's fine if you're playing like, you know, a Matt Riddle comedy stoner thing when you're doing it. But when, like, especially for this, when it's a personal grudge feud, and she just sounds very monotone and not particularly interesting. Like her wrestling obviously wins people over, but I am finding a disconnect when it comes to any of the talking.
That's fair.
We go to Joe Hendry, who is going to give us a little concert after losing his championship.
Oh.
And he says, let's say it how it is. I lost the NXT Championship, and I now have to ask some difficult questions. Is this the end of the road? Should I quit? No. So let's lift spirits with a Joe Hendry concert. And he pulls out his lovely looking white guitar, starts strumming away, and is singing, I was the champion of all of NXT, and now it's some guy leaving the mafia, a guy called Tony D. Can I reclaim? I guess we'll have to see. Everybody wants the title. So many challengers remain, including Ethan and Ricky. Now they're on the same page again. Pun intended. Can Tony D retain? The title was my life. It's a shame that I lost her. Can I get it back? Or will I go to the... And he's interrupted before he can say, back to the TNA roster. Keanu Carver comes out and says, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to sing a song. I've seen you. And Joe's like, nah, I've seen you disrespect everyone here. These people were promised a Joe Hendry concert, and they're going to get it. And they fight, and Hendry decides to pick up his cheaper-looking guitar and smashes it over the back of Keanu Carver. But Carver no-sells it and takes him out. Some jobber cops run out for the save. We see Joe is bleeding, and then Carver spears 3 men plus Joe Hendry, so 4 in total, through the ringside barricade.
He was bleeding.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Did he just like clock
Cut
in
himself
with the right hand? Like,
yeah, I don't know what it was, but I was like, I had to rewind it. Like, wait a second, why is he all of a sudden just bleeding all over his face. That spot where he slammed all four through that barricade was pretty impressive. Maybe Carver's a baby face interrupting this Joe Hendry concert. I guess the joke in it was, hey, I'm going to the main roster. I'm being called up, is what I'm assuming this is all leading towards. I think Joe should go to the main roster. I think the song singing gimmick, the meme stuff would definitely work with WWE main roster and its audience. I hate this version of Joe Hendry. Like, I think Joe is very talented. There's a reason he's made it through all this stuff, and his story is pretty cool, and the singing and all that stuff. When you've broken record, when we've seen his songs in pre NXT fame, they were pretty funny. Especially the like indie ones where he could, maybe say things he wanted to say. But he is like, all of the NXT ones are flops for me. Every time he has sang on this show, I cannot stand it. And I think he is great. I will reiterate. I do think he is pretty fun. I think he's a talented guy. I think he will be a star on the WWE main roster. And they got to do better than that. Like, what are these songs? I know this was just a few lines to get interrupted, but it has always been like this when he is sang on this.
They sound a lot more, whereas I think when we've seen him do the stuff in the indies and things like that,
it's his own.
It feels like he's taken quite a bit of time to write these songs and write these lyrics and have them be pretty funny and cutting at his opponent. Okay, now this wasn't a song directed at anyone. It was just, what's next for Joe Hendry. But they feel like they were written on a napkin backstage, like just before coming out. Very simple, basic rhymes and not a whole lot of thought going into it. And I felt that with quite a lot of them. And not even saying you need to be like outrageous or like crazy rude or anything, but you've got to be a bit more creative than this,
like,
I think.
His character already is creative. Like, we have tons of singing wrestlers before, and I'm sure after Joe Hendry. But again, the reason he got here is because he was funny and creative and smart. And I just think every time since being in the WWE sphere universe, if you will, I feel like the songs have really sucked. So maybe I'll get better on the main roster with, I don't know, toxic masculinity or whatever they do on Danhausen and whatnot. But
it is maybe a bit of a difficult time to call him up so close to Danhausen. Not that they're the same, but they're not necessarily, they're very gimmicky wrestlers. Right. But yeah, I could. So this is, we've got Mania. Oh, right. You think this is taped, right? You think it's.
I think it. Yeah. It could easily be, live next week,
but do you see him as soon as one of the Raw or SmackDowns after Mania?
I guess so. Like, he is a character that I would put on WWE. Again, maybe not just right away, or do some vignettes. Have him do concerts, hopefully better ones, where he sings way before he wrestles to, feud with The Miz. All the standard main roster call-up stuff. I feel like he would easily fit into, like, a lot of that. Yeah. Book it.
And I thought Keanu Carver came off well here. Like, I did we see that spot through the barricade every week, but this one kind of made me go, oh shit, that was to 4 guys right there. But I assume, does Joe win the feud, or do you just have Carver kill him and send him on his way out?
I guess just crush Joe, and then Joe's done, and then goes to SmackDown. That's probably what I'd say.
We see Tony D being interviewed. He says, tonight I set the tone in how my reign will go against Ethan Page, someone who has been an NXT champion. He was the longest reigning NXT North American champion, a guy who broke the ruler's record, and then the ruler who is going to go and slay the beast at Mania. Well, I beat that ruler, and I picked you because I don't like you, your smile, or your style. I picked you because for the last 2 years, you've been at the front of NXT, and I will smash you and your ego to keep the championship.
Yeah. Tony D, I think the promo game still isn't the most exciting, most popping. And I think whenever it was that big one, like where he came back and cut that solo promo in the ring, I think that was when we were like, oh, he's a bit exposed actually of like, what is this character? You're not doing the promos with the 7 different camera shots or whatever in the spaghetti restaurant with the family. Now you're just in the ring doing this like whatever Sting gimmick or whatever that we keep saying. But I don't find everything else he says very, I don't know. I don't buy that this guy's even the champion right now. It's just very, very plain and very boring of what I thought we wouldn't be this Tony D character. And maybe that's just the fact that this character works better when he says less, because he's more of like the secret, like again, Sting, the vigilante guy, but now you're the champion. I don't know. This is just a small little insert promo, but it did remind me of that one big one like weeks and weeks ago where it was like, oh, and then since then they did way more pre-taped ones because maybe and then I think of that contract signing, which was kind of awkward as well. So I like Tony D and I like the evolution of his character. Don't get me wrong. I still think he says a whole lot of classic wrestling nothing in his promos.
Yeah, I didn't mind this so much. I did like bringing up that he beat Obafemi, and it's like I'm one of the only guys who beat him, and look where he is now. Yeah. He's been taking out Brock Lesnar, and I think in another era they'd really be trying to make you forget that Obafemi ever had a loss, you know? So I like that Tony's reminding us of that. I think maybe he needs a proper feud to get his teeth into. That's something personal where you can then do a bit more of the back and forth. Whereas it's been too Batman, hasn't it, since he's coming back? I'm here to protect NXT from Dark State and then get the titles. Yeah. And I think once you kind of get through all that and he has like, you know, a real personal feud with someone else skilled on the mic who can go back and forth with him, maybe we'll see a bit more out of him. But I know what you mean. It feels a little stilted at the moment, but I think he's capable of it. In his old character, I thought he'd sound fine, but obviously you've got more of the cartooniness to hide behind there. So yeah.
Again, this is only like, you know, week or two out, but from winning the title, it did give me a flashback of like, oh yeah, remember when you came? Because last week he did come out and then he was interrupted pretty quickly, and then it just keeps reminding me that since then he hasn't cut a promo out there, and okay, it's only second week. I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it.
You kind of want to see him get emotional at this, you know, like he's won the title. He's been in NXT for a long time. Like
maybe that's it. Maybe let
the walls down a little bit. You've achieved it now, you know?
Yeah, because I said it's like copy paste of wrestling like catchphrase. I feel NXT definitely suffers from that, as we always make fun of X, Y, and Z of, you know, Dark State saying the same thing over and over again. But yeah, we need stories for some of the men's roster. And even though he's champion, it's like, okay, well, everyone who's in the main roster, in the men's NXT roster, he's already faced. So I don't know what the story is.
We then see Lola Vice backstage getting ready for her title defense when Stephanie Vaquer walks in and says, "Mi amiga." That means my sister.
Oh, really?
I've been doing my Duolingo. Says, "That title looks good on you," and wishes her good luck tonight.
Nice. From one champ to another.
Yeah.
Someone else we saw in NXT who's now going to be wrestling at WrestleMania. So maybe next year we'll see Lola Vice on the show.
Yes. We then go to our next match. Callie Armstrong making her re-debut on NXT. We have seen her before, right?
Yes, we have. And then it has been a while. And then now she's brought back. So she's what, a former runner, sprinter, did they say? Track star? She's a runner. She's a track star.
Yeah, athletics and stuff. Was Evolve Women's Champion. I feel this saying her debut, she's left Evolve now. This is her full-time NXT. And she is taking on Skylar Ray.
This is confusing me already. I remember we've seen her briefly a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh, it's Skylar Grey. And then I'm like, wait a second. That's the singer who does some songs with Eminem.
Yeah, did the WrestleMania.
Yeah.
What she did? WrestleMania 31 she did, and 2028.
So this is Skylar Ray.
Skylar Ray.
Skylar Ray. Okay.
Yes. Ray goes for a handshake right away, but Armstrong slaps it away, says, "This is what I do." And she's throwing her to the mat. She applies this wrist lock, but is slamming her with the wrist lock as well, which looked kind of cool. And then delivers a huge spine buster, rams Ray into the corner and hits a big power slam for a 2 count. We then get some jabs and a big right hand from Armstrong. Skylar Ray comes back with a Luthez press and hits a running elbow in the corner, followed by a satellite DDT, but Armstrong kicks out. Ray then goes up top, leaps off, but gets met with a huge right hand to the jaw and is sent into the ropes, hit with another power slam, and then Callie starts to run the ropes and hits a massive pounce, which she calls the Callie connection, and Armstrong wins.
So this was like a super pounce period. She like landed on her head.
Yeah.
Selling this. Skylar did like the full Will Ospreay sell.
Oh, she bumped like Dolph Ziggler here, like went crazy.
She like did like an RVD, like handstands getting pile drive, right? Yeah. You know, she sold the shit out of this pounce. This was a quick match, but I thought both women got little like snippets of what they're capable of. And I think maybe a bit more impressive of what the last time we saw Callie maybe on an NXT TV show. But I just another athlete doing another running shoulder block. That like I know this one
looked pretty good though.
Like, okay, but who are you gonna do? You're gonna do this to like who else is gonna sell a running football tackle while doing The Rock selling a Stone Cold Stunner?
I mean, compared to the men's division, there aren't a whole lot of huge women in WWE.
But not
like she'll have difficulty against Nia and Lash, but most of them are pretty petite.
No, none of them are gonna. Not everyone's gonna want to do a moonsault sell for a.
No, you're not all gonna have to, are you?
I just think okay, this may be just devil's advocate, but I do think they need a finisher class, a move class of some course or something where you're learning and looking up moves, like lost move alert kind of thing. Like, oh wait, no one else is doing this. I don't know, some running clothesline, running forearm, running anything. I just the shoulder block is one of the worst moves in general. But
I do remember when it was I think it was the last season of Tough Enough, where there was the guy, I'm trying to remember correctly, I think it was called the Yeti or something like that. And they do like, right, today we're gonna make your finisher.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, oh, I want to do a power bomb and all this. And they're like, whoa. Let's keep it simple here.
Hip toss.
Like, you're new. Let's keep it simple. And I think they gave him a flapjack or something like that.
Okay.
Now, I suspect that maybe that is part of it, where they don't want to give anyone too complicated. Like we've seen wrestlers change their finishes over the year. Unfortunately, it does lead to a lot of similar stuff. Now, I was thinking watching this, she kind of reminded me of a Bron Breakker because she had so much speed with the power as well and looked pretty smooth in there. Like, you know, you get some of the big muscle people who are quite awkward. I thought she moved really well and kind of was reminding me of Bron that way. I don't want to see anyone else do a spear, you know, but I think that was the effect that they were trying to do with this pounce. They're like, we want something where you're running and can showcase that speed of yours.
Yeah, the speed, but...
And maybe they don't trust so much doing like a clothesline at that speed right now. You're doing a pounce where it's the other person who's taking it more. I don't know, but like, I don't disagree with you. I'm just trying to think of maybe some of the reasoning behind it.
Absolutely. Like we've seen people in the Performance Center have moves and then eventually they add new ones or whatever, but it's still at the end of the day is a running shoulder tackle. So I can't let that slide. But I did like the name. I will give credit. The Callie connection. She connects while running at you, and her name's Callie. So.
But I thought pretty solid debut from her here as well. And Skylar Ray looked good too.
Agreed. Like in what was a really short match, I could easily see these two being prominent stars or characters on NXT in a few months.
We see Vanity Project, who are backstage with Blake Monroe and Robert Stone, and we learn that Tatum versus Monroe is happening next week, but Tatum is picking the stipulation. They then present Blake Monroe with her own North American Championship, which is all glamorized, and Monroe can pick one person to be in the ring with her, and she picks Jackson Drake. And as their, I think it was it Brad? No, it was Jackson Drake, I think, who tells Robert Stone, "Now look here, buddy.
Listen, buddy.
Listen, buddy." This 21-year-old kid saying, like, "Listen here, buddy," to Robert Stone, like, did make me laugh.
Well, what was even funnier was then Ricky Smokes said something, like he chimes in at the end.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Get out of here, Smokes."
And Matt Damon says that it doesn't matter what the stipulation is, that the Glamour is going to win. So all of them leave together. Blake Monroe with the Vanity Project.
I got a question for you. What's a better movie, Rounders or Good Will Hunting?
I'm going to say Good Will Hunting.
Let me just write that down. Okay, good. Excellent. Take that, John Pollock.
Oh, really?
He said Rounders was better than...
I know. No, he loves that film.
I know he loves
I've heard
Rounders.
him talk about that film on more than one occasion.
He loves Rounders more. Like, Good Will Hunting won 2 Oscars.
Yeah.
2.
It's a pretty
Rightfully
good
so.
movie.
It's
a
so
pretty
good.
tremendous movie. Yeah.
It's so good. And he says Rounders is better than that. Yeah, well, get out of here. Get out of here. Anyways, I had to make sure.
It's all right. It's all right, Braden. I'm back. I'm here.
What you left me with.
We then get a commercial for a Shawn Michaels documentary on Peacock, and it starts with Trick Williams here, kind of saying, like, Shawn made him believe in himself and believed in him to be a megastar. And yeah, we're getting this Shawn Michaels documentary on Peacock. So still,
we can't watch it.
Still somewhat of a relationship there between WWE and Peacock, which is
I don't know why. Yeah. So I do kind of want to watch this. I always love, documentaries about non-wrestling stuff. And even though it's gonna totally gloss over things that they will not talk about maybe in this Shawn Michaels thing. I'd much prefer a Dark Side of the Ring Shawn Michaels, but I probably will watch this just with this week being WrestleMania time. I think it's kind of a bad time to release this. Remember last year they did the WrestleMania 9, right? Yeah. Like the documentary, but that was a great time because it was all about the Vegas WrestleMania. Whereas this time it's just kind of about Shawn Michaels, which again is cool because they are showing you like old stuff and him in NXT. So I obviously have interest in that. So I will be watching this, but it's probably going to take me a few weeks when I have absolutely nothing to do.
It makes sense from this is a time of year where you get the casuals coming back, you get people who have heard of WrestleMania, so maybe I'll give this WrestleMania a shot, especially with it being on Netflix. And I think doing these like documentaries, it being on Peacock where you're going to get different eyes find it, and then the Hulk Hogan one comes out soon, right? Like it's
Netflix.
Yeah, I think it's intentional to try and just be like wrestling's everywhere. And it's like, whoa, all I keep seeing is wrestling everywhere. For people like you and me, it's like I'd rather this in a quiet time of year where there's November. That would have been nice for some documentaries, when the weather's getting cold. I don't want to be inside as much, but a lot of us are going to be trying to watch some of the like Spring Break and The Collective and all that other bumper programming for wrestling. So I will watch it, and same with the Hogan one, I will watch it. I don't know if it's going to be a day one watch for me.
Yeah. I like the Hogan one too. Like anytime, like I wonder what they do put in it and what they don't and stuff like that, right? The Netflix one, like I have more faith that they will talk about some of the like dark stuff, I guess, because of the Vince was the Netflix documentary, right? So yeah.
But will it be in the true documentary section or will it be under fiction? When you go to Netflix.
He's he's no longer with us. I wonder if it will just have a fact check throughout the whole documentary of all the times he says something, and then they have someone else.
I can't remember who did that Twitter thread, but I still
they fact checked everything. Yeah,
I still go to it every now and then. It's pretty fantastic.
You know, whoever. Yeah, I keep often going back and thinking about that guy who did that Twitter thread about fact checking Hulk Hogan, because I wish other people fact checked other people in this world who often lie about everything all the time.
Wow, you really didn't like working with Jack the last few weeks.
No. I love Jack. Don't slander Jack the Snack. Always welcome here. But yeah, wrestling documentaries are cool. Dark Side like still happening? It's usually around,
they announced the slate, I think.
No,
I think so. Am I making this up?
I feel like you're making it up. I remember seeing them. Yeah, last year was Vader. Last year was Billy Graham, Daphne, and the Sheik, Muhammad Hassan.
Okay,
I don't know what this year's is.
Filming. I mean, it sounds like it's already been filmed. It started in October of last year. Okay. Release date has not been announced. The only thing that apparently there was a teaser trailer of the show, and it hinted at the Big Boss Man being the subject for one episode.
Okay, nice. I mean, that's a good one. I guess they could talk about.
We just got a Big Boss Man T-shirt in the mail to give away at our WrestleMania event.
Wow, nice.
There you go.
I could tie it all in together there.
Hey, did you watch Dark Side of the Ring? Big Boss Man, feel depressed? Have his T-shirt.
I hope they come back, because that show, like, honestly, love it. But yeah, Shawn Michaels HBK doc on Peacock. What else can you watch on Peacock when it comes to WWE? Nothing, right?
I mean, they've still got all the. Ooh, do they? I assume they still have the old pay-per-views that were on there. But
I don't know.
It is. I mean, I assume this was being made before all the deals changed, and that's why it's on Peacock. Because you would have thought if this was on there, you'd still have that relationship, and like the NXT Stand and Deliver would be on it or whatever. So maybe this was just made before because they ended everything early, didn't they, for the ESPN deal? So maybe this was already in production, I guess.
Yeah.
We go to our NXT Championship match. Tony D'Angelo in his first defense against All Ego Ethan Page. We have a bit of a counter for counter with the vertical suplex, with which Page gets the better of. And then Ricky Saints runs out. But as he's by the apron, a hand grabs him and pulls him under the ring straight to hell. And then
we were talking earlier about, like, hey, they're both heels, right? Like, they screw each other over and they're still, like, kind of getting along, and that's kind of like the dynamic going forward. For about 2 seconds here, I thought Ricky was doing his best getting kidnapped impression. Like, you know, when I was a kid, I would try to do that Austin Powers thing when you walk behind a couch and you go like, oh, I'm taking the stairs. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. I'm taking the elevator. And then you know what I'm talking about? When
you'd be like,
yeah. So he's standing there, and then he like he gets pulled. But before he does, he makes a face like, whoa, and then like falls and then gets dragged under the ring. And for literally a 0.9 second, I was like, hey, that looks like someone really was pulling him. Because I thought, how funny would it be if he just never shows up for the rest of the match and then tells Ethan, like, no, someone pulled me under. But really, he was just fucking with him. But then, of course, I remembered, oh, well, if anyone was going to grab him and pull him or something, it's probably going to be, yep, there he is.
Our resident crazy guy. Yes, Shiloh Hill, they come out the other side of the ring. He's hog-tied him, like tied him by the ankles, and just drags him out of the arena there.
Yes.
Tony then hits a huge AA. Like, look great.
Very Okada-esque. It's like the suplex,
rain.
Into like a fireman carry into a suplex. Really cool.
After the break, Page has Tony in a headlock, and Tony's fighting back. Tony comes back with a series of big German suplexes, throwing Page around everywhere. We then get a bit of a yay boo slugfest between the two. A big boot from Page, a Superman punch from D'Angelo, followed by the blockbuster, and forget about it. Tony then goes for the dead to rights, the one-handed spine buster, but takes a thumb to the eye from Paige, sidesteps a shoulder into the corner, and then we get the big power slam followed by a splash from Paige for a 2 count. And Ethan's now getting frustrated, so goes to the outside and grabs the NXT title, but the referee grabs it off of him. There's a roll-up from D'Angelo with a kick out, and then Ethan Page hits the Ego's Edge on top of the title. Now, should this be a DQ?
I think even the ref was like thinking about it. Even the commentator, like, maybe that should. And he's like, let's.
I think commentary were like, maybe Ethan Page didn't know it was there. I mean, you brought it into the ring, but whatever. It's not a DQ, but Tony kicks out. Page then clears the announce table and goes for the twisted grin on the announce table, but this gets blocked. D'Angelo then runs the barricade and hits a spear onto the table. It doesn't break. It looked very painful. Rolls Page into the ring and hits the dead to rights. And Tony D'Angelo is still your NXT champion.
A fine little match. There was some cool stuff between the two, especially the suplexes from Tony. I think his suplexes are always good. Italian Kurt Angle right here with the overhead throws and stuff, I think always looks good. And Ethan Page, definitely like one of the most well-rounded. Like I think obviously one of the more charismatic and better talkers, not even just NXT, just WWE, but his wrestling definitely has stepped up. I feel like he's gotten more slick with his like 5 moves of doom, if you will, where like I know his moves always look good, and he's always coming up with different ways of doing them and whatnot. So it was fine. I didn't expect Ethan Page to win here, and I don't know where we go with this. Does Tony then beat Ricky in another match, and then finally these two are gone from here? I said earlier, like absolute ego. Book it as a tag team. Have them both be the most like, over the top, like evil dickheads on the main roster, a SmackDown or something, a tag title run here or there, and then do the singles thing. And I think both of them could really take that to another level. Like I like them. I just don't, there's nothing else for them on this show. Really. They're the ones holding it together, but there's nothing else on this show for them.
It's one of the stipulations I absolutely hate, but I can see them doing the triple threat or the 2v1 handicap match for the title, which it's just, I hate it. I hate it whenever they do that. We had it, a year or so ago with Theory and Waller taking on whoever was the champion back then. It might have been Oba, yeah. But I could see them doing that. I enjoyed the match. I agree. I think Page has improved, like his, or just he's very smart. He finds the right spots to do. He's not out there doing 630s or whatever, but I think he picks all his spots really well. I think he really thinks about what is going to be effective and when to do those big moves, like power slam off the top or whatever. And I think Tony D'Angelo has leveled up. Like his promo maybe still needs something, but I think just in ring, he's looking better. He's looking more powerful. I remember thinking this with so many other guys when they finally removed their top, like Roman, where he had the vest on for so long, and then he starts wrestling without it, and you're like, oh, you look like a god. Like, why? Where was that before? Same with Moxley. He was always wrestling in a tank top, and then yes, he got jacked as well, but just looks so much more serious. And I think this gear, just like being topless, looking more jacked, I think it's suiting D'Angelo. The wild hair that's going throughout the match,
beard,
I think, yeah, he's looking way more like he should be NXT champion. Whereas I think when he challenged Ilya way back when, you're going, come on, this guy ain't being the champ. So yeah, I found this pretty entertaining, but I'm with you. I wonder where we're going. I think we are keeping Ethan and Ricky in this mix.
So some sort of got to leave NXT match or whatever for Ricky or Ethan or both of these guys, where they get sent packing and eventually show up on the main roster. Because I would say these are the two picks. Like out of everyone in NXT, Ethan and Ricky do not. They're a big part of some good stuff in NXT and definitely the glue that's been helping this show. But I think they could be doing a whole lot more going forward.
Yeah, and sometimes you need the people holding it together to move up to force the others to kind of step up a little bit as well, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, they'd be on my call up card.
We get a commercial for, is this a future Shark Week movie? Thrash on Netflix.
Oh, I skipped over this.
I've heard about this a few weeks ago. Like I think on maybe like Twitter or something, people were like, "Oh, a new Netflix shark movie." So gonna have to put that one in the chamber for a future Shark Week in July? Is that when it looks kind of scary?
A coastal town battles nature's wrath and an onslaught of sharks, braving torrential rain, debris, and darkness. They unite to survive the deadly predators.
Like the best way to describe it, what you just said, think Sharknado, but like serious. Like, cool. Oh no, we just had like tornadoes and storms. And what was brought in with those storms? Sharks.
Yeah.
With laser beams on their heads. No, wait, no. But it looks good.
I'm trying to see. I don't recognize anyone in it, but
they're all gonna die. LL Cool J's in it. No.
Is this our Shark Week?
It's new. It's topical.
You still want to do the Meg, don't you?
I know. I've still never watched the Meg. And what else do I love in life more than Jason Statham fighting sharks? So
shut up, Meg.
We should do the Meg this year. Well, we still have a few months to go, but Thrash looks good.
We did Sharktopus last year, didn't we?
Sharktopus? Man, yeah. I don't know what. Sometimes they blend together. Fucking leprechauns and sharks and.
Yeah, do you know it was the shark octopus hybrid thing? Remember?
Oh, with who was in it? Yeah, it was brutal.
Eric
Roberts,
yes.
The goat. Yeah.
If in doubt, Eric Roberts.
He's probably in this one too.
We see Ricky Saints backstage, and he is pissed, and he's going after Shiloh and says, "Shiloh, this ain't over." And Shiloh turns around because he's been doing some work and holds up a jigsaw and an electric drill. And he's like, "Oh, Ricky, I could do with some help here." As it's all going off, and Ricky's scared and runs away.
What's he doing back there?
He's building. He's crafting. We then have Miles Bourne go to the ring, the new NXT North American champion. And he's in a nice looking suit, looking very dapper.
Well, he's not new because he retained it, but I guess new because you probably caught up on NXT today.
Yeah, new to me. Yeah, he beat Johnny Gargano at about 4 p.m. today.
Wait, he won the title before that. Wasn't he defending it? He took it from Ethan.
Yeah, he's pretty new. You know, come on. He says, "I pulled the black and gold from Gargano and sent him back to SmackDown. And I was about to go home and celebrate with my favorite dessert."
As he winks to the camera. Yep. Oh, well, what's he talking about?
Yeah. He knows Stephanie's back there.
Well, she was backstage with Lola.
There with Lola. Yeah, exactly.
Did you see that?
He should have said Cholula Green, really, shouldn't he? Come on.
Right. Yeah, true. Yeah. You see that was it him or Stephanie who said that they get asked quite a lot, like, how do you guys understand each other? Because a lot of people were asking that when that kind of came out. But
and are they like, "Hey, we're hot, like fuck off"?
Yeah. I think that we were like, I don't know if it matters. Look at these two.
And then did he go, "Yeah, she's mine," and what? Yeet, right?
What?
Oh, did you miss that this week?
Which one from Raw?
From Instagram.
Yeah. Yes. You're referring to another NXT wrestler, right?
Yeah.
NXT Love Island.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. So he was going to go home and enjoy some sex when he got attacked from behind with a chair from Dion Lennox. And he goes, "We all know I'm deaf, but I heard that. More importantly, I felt it. And all the chatter after the match wasn't how I defeated an NXT legend, but that Dion Lennox might be next NXT North American champion." I assure you, Miles, no one was talking about that after the match. No one was talking about Dion Lennox. But he says, "So last week I came after Dark State, and when you come after the North American champion, ain't nobody safe." And this is when Dark State come out. They're coming through the crowd. And Dion says that he's been fingertips away from the NXT title, but distractions get in the way. But the Dark State slump is over, and the Dark State future is on your shoulder. So either accept your fate or deny the inevitable. And Miles goes, sure, if you want a title match, we can put that together next week. But as for your ultimatum, we will go with option C, where I keep this title. You don't like that answer, do you? So either you have this match with me, or you can send Dark State down to do your business. But if you do that, you won't get your title match. So Dion, as the leader of Dark State, you have a decision to make. And either way, I'm ready. This is where Saquon Sugars pipes up and says, there ain't no leader of Dark State. Dark State really need to learn their double negatives here. Ain't nobody safe means everybody's safe. Ain't no leader means there is a leader. But anyway, semantics. Sugars says no one cares about a title match. And then Sugars goes to attack. But Lennox stops him and says, no, we've got to think about our future. And our future is that title. Sugars goes, yeah, our future or your future. So Sugars attacks Miles Bourne and gets laid out with the Bourne again, and rest of Dark State all scarper to the back.
They looked real scared of Miles Bourne. Usually it's the 4-on-1 beatdown, but this time he was the one in the ring where they were all like, oh no, he hit him with a zigzag. Shit, we better get out of here. Better watch out. I like Miles Bourne. I think when he did the storyline with Ethan to give him his ego's edge a little bit there to then win the belt and everything. I thought the stuff with Johnny was a little backwards. I think if Johnny was to come into NXT, he should have been up against a bad guy to easily destroy him and then gloat about how, I defeated Johnny or whatever, if that even has any meaning in 2026. But I just feel Miles instantly went back to being the boring Miles Bourne again. Like instantly back to the guy that he was before he won this. He may be making references to banging his girl, but like he's still kind of just, I don't know. There's something there. And I'm like, and I thought that with the Johnny match where I don't know if it was on him or necessarily just Johnny too, but like it was pretty boring. It wasn't necessarily like, oh, this is exciting. And I don't know. We've seen the fire and the edge, as they kept saying, like, oh, he's got the edge now that he did that to win the belt. But I'm still not buying it right now. And I like him, and I definitely do want to like him even more, but I don't know. And then Dark State is mixed in here, and they're just like all over the place. So
I liked for once a babyface being kind of smart. Like we see all the time with heel champions that, no, I'm the champion, I call the shots. We're not doing this week. We're doing it next week in my hometown or whatever. I kind of enjoyed Miles here being like, yeah, I'll give you the match, but if you all attack me, you ain't getting it. Like, right, yeah. Why do more people not say this? But I'm with you where he could have maybe found more fire in the delivery of that. It's like, no, you don't get to call the shots now because I'm the champ, and being a bit more fiery and passionate.
I think I know what it is. I can't get behind someone whose finisher is a zigzag. That's probably what it is. They tricked me once before. Fool me once, I ain't gonna get fooled again. So,
but yeah, man, Dark State just looked like such dorks.
Absolutely.
It's that like, for me. Remember when Dark Order started and they like try to make them all like scary, and this is the group that's going to take over, and then very quickly they realized, oh no, this is a group of jobbers, and it's way funnier to treat them like that and have them play into that. It's like that's what Dark State is, just they don't realize it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like what? Okay, they had a tag title run. It didn't last too long. What else have they really achieved? Like they failed every mission of taking over NXT, taking out whoever the champ is and all that. And I don't really see, unless is this a plan? Is this they're playing up all this dissension between Dark State to throw Miles off, to screw him in the match next week?
I think just the stuff with Dark State is they still haven't told like all four of these guys. I don't know. It still feels very copy paste of the Shield stuff, of a lot of wrestling stuff. It feels like such a copy pasta of that, and I think they should break them up, but maybe like I can't see this group going to the main roster.
No,
not now, not in a year. So like, might as well make some changes now. But
I feel like Lennox on his own does have something, and I think he could do better. I don't necessarily see as a main roster star, but I think he's maybe got a bit of a higher ceiling in NXT than we've seen so far. I think Sugar's maybe find him the right partner, and I think he could work. I don't really see much with the other two, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We move on. What's next? We have a Zarya NXT focus, which is now going through the story of Sol and Zarya, of Zaruka, but from her point of view. And she's kind of bringing up that Sol being selfish the whole time. But the main thing was that she kicked out of the Soul Snatcher, and she kicked out of 3 of them. And she says, no one else has ever kicked out of it before. And I would have let the world burn for you, but with everything you've done, you will be burning beside it. And next week, I will be the last woman standing.
So like you said, it shows her side like, hey, actually, you're the bad guy, even though she's the big scary. This is like showing the fire and the thing. But then I thought it was pretty sweet, like one of these big Marvel movies with like Thanos explaining why he wants to kill all these people. But then it shows Zarya, that one shot of her like with the like world catching on fire.
Yeah.
And she says, it's Zarya saying this. So I would have set the world on fire for you. And she's like, and it's like, all right. I think Zarya should win. Sol moves up and continues. I think Zarya needs to stay down in NXT, and maybe Sol could go up. But I hope that we get some cool spots in this match next week.
I thought Zarya sounded better in this one. I thought it was one of the best times she sounded. I don't think either are particularly strong on the promo, but I thought maybe Zarya had some better lines in this.
But Zarya should be this. Like, since the beginning, they were telling us this was Zarya, and then pretty much right away, she was just friends with the surfer girl. So it was like, oh, shouldn't you have come in like as the Mad Max destroyer lady from the get-go, like all the videos that showed you like this, and then you came in and you're like doing makeup tutorials and TikToks. I'm like, oh, all right. So maybe this will set the course right for Zarya.
Yeah, about time. We go to our next match. It's for the Speed Tournament Championship match. Sorry, a tournament for the Speed Championship. This is a round match. It's not a rounds match. It's speed match. 3 minutes. I've been away.
Rounds match? No, we brought them back.
What happened to Elio LaFleur?
He got injured in real life.
Right.
He had a shoulder thing. So he is taken out. And then I think it was at a house show.
Right.
I think it was at a house show that they did. So he's been taken out
for
at least a few months, they said, in the last few weeks. So yeah, so he's been taken out. So we have this new guy who's joined in, though, Dorian Van Dukes.
Yeah.
Don't call him Dorian Van Dux. From Belgium. I think they even said Brussels, actually, if I'm not mistaken, which is funny because he's using Van Dukes, which is Mons, Belgium, apparently, where he's from. But the joke there is obviously Bloodsport, where Jean-Claude Van Damme's character is Frank Dukes, and people always call him Frank Dux in the movie. He's like, Frank Dukes. Well, here, this guy's from Belgium. He's pretty muscly. So the muscles from Brussels, even though he might not actually be from Brussels.
They're probably billing him from Brussels.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Okay, right.
Belgium's not particularly big.
This guy looks pretty like jacked. Like he was in one of these matches with the AAA. Was it about a week or so ago? So I saw that he got some traction online from that with like the 6-man tag. But this is his actual NXT TV debut, like in a match. So I was definitely interested to see what he had to offer.
Yeah, this guy had a bit of a name on the indies, worked for WXW a lot, Mike DeVecchio. So did a lot of the European indies. When he was what is it, like the tryouts or the signing or whatever, what feels like a few months ago, I remember seeing some clips or some things going around social media, and people were like, all right, let's see this guy. So what I've seen, I was like, okay, I want to see this guy on NXT TV. And here
this was only a 3-minute speed tournament match. But I'll tell you already, I want to see more from this guy. I think he was pretty impressive. And on top of that, the over the top blood sport references of a movie I could watch every day. So yeah, I'm in.
It's in the Patreon if you haven't listened to it yet.
I think out of all the movies we reviewed, I've probably watched Bloodsport since our review. That's probably a movie I've watched or had on like the most since reviewing. I don't like to watch things that we review a lot, but Bloodsport's on there.
Mons is an hour from Brussels, so I mean, if Edge can say he's from Toronto,
Orangeville, okay, Muscles from Brussels.
There we go.
Frank Dukes, Dorian Van Dukes here. Book it, love it.
Yes, we get a little insert promo from Van Dukes going as he's heading to the ring. He says he conquered Belgium, now he's here, and the name's Dorian Van Dukes, DVD. And I'm here to change NXT's definition of destruction. And he's facing EK Prosper. Yeah.
Did you know who this was for a second?
It's Eli Knight.
You were like, wait a second, that's not his name. And yeah, they changed his name. So live long and prosper.
I mean,
that's Jean-Claude Van Damme.
A lot of name changes. I'm like, why are we doing that? This one I can get behind. It's having an Eli Drake, who is now LA Knight, on the same roster, and now you've got Eli Knight. It's a bit too much, too close.
I like this one. It's okay.
So this is a 3-minute speed match, Prosper versus Van Dukes. We get a huge tope suicida early on from Dukes. Dukes really showing off his speed. He's a big guy, kind of like not quite the size of Brian Cage, but kind of got that thing about him. Just
actually,
a bit of a muscle guy. Yeah,
that's what I kind of that's what I wrote down too. Like, kind of, he's about like what 5'11" or 6 foot or something, very jacked, but then was doing like some impressive athletic stuff, including a lot of dives and stuff, which did remind me of Brian Cage, who is probably a little bit more bigger, but always is doing like what we call the creator wrestler moveset, essentially. But this guy coming out the gate,
I want to be huge and I want to do a 450.
But this guy, like, he's still like, he's not like 6'5" or anything, where he can still manage to pull these kinds of moves off. And again, I thought they were really, including that first dive over the top rope.
So I said tope, it was like the Undertaker dive.
Yeah.
Right over the top rope.
Yeah, really great.
Follows up by a big splash and then goes for a powerbomb, which gets countered into a code red from Prosper. Prosper then sends Dukes to the floor and hits a beautiful, huge top rope moonsault to the floor. Back in the ring, there's a massive clothesline from Van Dukes. Goes to the pin, but it's only a 2 count. We then see there's 1 minute left on the clock. We get a standing Shining Wizard from Prosper. They start trading kicks. And then Van Dukes essentially hits the OG cutter, the like springboard top rope cutter. 20 seconds left on the clock. Van Dukes goes up the top. And well, it's WrestleMania season. He's thinking back to WrestleMania 19 because he hits the shooting star press, but misses. And then we get the big moonsault from Prosper. And 1, 2, 3, EK Prosper wins with 5 seconds left on the clock.
You could tell they were hustling towards the end because they were like, oh, shit. You could see the ref was like, we can't be going.
And they don't gimmick this time, do they? Like, you see the clock throughout the whole thing. So.
We can't do no more triple threat 7-minute matches for the speed title. We need to get these matches done. So they managed to really fit that in the 3 minutes. But yeah, we've seen EK Prosper in the last few weeks on NXT, and he's been really impressive. A lot of those fast, like, step up moonsaults and everything. So I definitely saw him winning this just because they did kind of the story with him and Elio and stuff. It would make a whole lot of sense. But I think the story for me here was this Dorian Van Dukes DVD. I've been beating the drum of, hey, it's cool that we're hiring big athletes and track stars and volleyball players and whatever. And if 1 out of 10 D1 athlete turns into an Obafemi or something, then fuck it. Awesome. But I love when we actually get wrestlers. So as soon as I see this guy, I know right away he knows what he's doing. He's hitting what looked like a flying splash or like a flying T-bone headbutt or something. I don't. Instantly, I'm like, yeah.
He cleared the ring. Great. Like it looked like the diving headbutt, but it was because how far Prosper was away from him. But it was a huge splash.
I've seen enough. Like this guy could be a big deal in NXT just because he actually can already wrestle. Like circles around some of these.
It was almost a shame that he had to lose this.
Yeah, it was like
he looks like the kind of character who should just come in and steamroll people. And obviously, EK Prosper's been part of this speed division, and it makes a whole lot of sense. So we're getting him versus Lexis King for the speed championship coming up.
Could Dorian Van Dukes join the Birthright if his dad is Frank Dukes from Bloodsport? He'll just put him in the thing. I would like to see this guy again because first impression, definitely, I was like, okay, all right, let's see what you got, Dukes. And I definitely think he could definitely have a part in NXT going forward. We always been complaining the last year and some change about the men's roster, and I think someone like this coming in, putting on some good wrestling every Tuesday could definitely add something to this show. So first impression, like very high marks for this guy.
Yeah, I would say like most of this speed division, actually, can we maybe focus on giving them more stories and mic time to really try to level them up because they're really good.
And the other people that we keep trying and kind of suck, like do the other thing where
maybe
they
can have 3-minute matches.
So there you go. Hopefully we see some more from Dorian Van Dukes, but on a first watch, I think we're in for some good stuff.
Big Time Baxter in the chat saying, did you hear HBK say in an interview he was fighting to keep Javon, but main roster wanted him right after SNME? I didn't, but I believe it.
Like we totally could have had a Javon NXT title run story, right? Yeah. Like that's totally something, but he just really needed to be in the ladder match for the IC title. He's probably going to win at WrestleMania. Like a big, young kid winning at Mania story, definitely. But
we see Robert Stone lecturing Keanu Carver backstage, and Keanu Carver's just enough. No more singing. I'm done. And promises next week will be Joe's funeral. I think that's fair. I came here to wrestle. What's with all the fucking singing going on?
Yeah. Let's clean up NXT.
Yeah.
No more silly gimmicks. No more gamblers, mafia, lounge singers. We need wrestlers.
Yeah. I bring back the poker player, but everything else.
Yeah, you can bring him back, actually. I miss him, but still. Hey, Davie, have you joined WWE Club yet?
Is this where I can pay a membership so I can pay more money to get tickets?
Is that what this is? I may have skipped over this commercial.
That's okay. It seems like, join this club where you're going to get exclusive content and ticket opportunities. I read this as, hey, you want good tickets? You want early access for Mania tickets or whatever? Give us $500 a year or however much it is. I haven't looked what it is, but that was what I assumed reading it.
I guess it makes sense. Like I think of other fan bases, bands or whatnot have these kinds of fan club things where you do pay in, but it will give you, early access or codes to get tickets in advance or, autographs or shit like that
it's saying like exclusive merchandise opportunities,
right.
Shop exclusive merchandise like the John Cena Never Seen 17 collection, score early access to WWE event tickets worldwide, and view never before seen content from your favorite WWE superstars.
It's like OnlyFans but WWE.
Yeah, I don't, it's just saying sign up now, so I don't, it might be a free thing. It says who's your favorite current superstar. Who should I go with?
Who are you gonna put?
Uncle Howdy. There we go.
Yeah, WWE Club.
All right.
Wow.
Cool. We go to an NXT Chronicle. We've got them all this week. NXT Focus, NXT Chronicle. And this time it's highlighting Kendall Gray, who came up short at Stand and Deliver. And she's kind of in a pre-recorded sit-down interview and says, this is not really my style. I don't like really dressing up or talking about myself. I usually let my actions do the talking. And a year ago, she asked her chance of being in Stand and Deliver in her hometown, Las Vegas. And they said, that's like a 1% chance. Well, they were right, because it didn't happen in Vegas. It happened in St. Louis. She says she was on nobody's radar a year ago. And then Ren Sinclair helped her let her goofy side out, and Evolve helped her with her confidence. She says that her transition from amateur wrestling to pro was not easy. And just because other people in the past have done it and made it look easy doesn't mean it's not tough. She brings up becoming the Women's Iron Survivor winner last year and how John Cena picked her to be in the match. And she says she grew up idolizing John Cena, and it's showing pictures of her in Cena gear, and says her and her siblings used to argue over who would play as him in the video games. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Like, John Cena, always been polarizing. But when you're playing the video games, even if you like John Cena, I don't know if I'd ever pick John Cena.
I guess if you like him, you would, right? Like, I always thought if you pick John Cena or like Randy Orton, you're just picking the most like high-rated people because he's like Super Cena, right? So it shows me you don't know ball. If someone, I'm sorry, John, we have a show called The Champ Is Here. We definitely give you respect and flowers, and sometimes I don't know, the slaps that you needed from the past John Cena history, but he's not.
Whenever I played the games, I just enjoyed, like, you know, being the high flyers and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or the opposite, and you're just the power guys. Like,
but someone were to be like, "Who's your favorite wrestler?" and they say John Cena, it used to be like code for they don't know. They don't know ball. They don't know shit. Sorry, John Cena.
Did I say this on a show? I can't remember, but had a guy, a Vietnamese bartender, who saw Seth Rollins on my phone because I was just doom scrolling Twitter, and he's like, "Oh my God, you like wrestling?" and started talking to me all about wrestling, and was mentioning his favorites. He was like, "Oh yeah, John Cena and stuff." So I was like, "Oh, let's see how much this guy knows." He then said he knew about AEW. He was like, "Oh yes, Nick Khan owns that company, doesn't he?" And I was like, "No, it's Tony Khan." And he goes, "Oh yes, Nick Khan runs WWE." I'm like, "Okay, you kind of know your stuff." But then he goes, "I always thought it was real until Ryback put John Cena through the video screen." And then from that point, I was like, this can't be real. And I was like, wow, that was, for me, it was Undertaker shooting lightning from the ceiling, but it was Ryback broke your kayfabe. Can you believe it?
Was he young? Maybe he was like young.
He was a younger guy, but like knew his stuff, but it was just funny. Like Ryback and Cena was when you went, wait a second, this ain't real.
Yeah. What was it? Just Ryback throwing him?
Yeah, we talked about it on The Champ Is Here. The last man standing match, where it's a draw because neither get up, right?
And that's when he realized wrestling was fake.
Yeah. So anyway, back to Kendall Gray and her chronicle. She's talking about the video games, and she would always want to play as Cena, and says Cena always said, show up early, work harder than everybody, and be coachable. And that's been my ethos, and that's what I've been doing. And after I won the Nationals, Julius Creed reached out to me and said, maybe you should try out for WWE. She says she went there. She didn't feel like she fitted in. She was the smallest girl there. But the more she got in the ring, the more she knew she loved it. And there's a whole lot to her that NXT doesn't know yet. And we get a to be continued. So I imagine we'll get part 2 next week, where if any of the other chronicles are to go by, we'll start meeting her dad, her mom, her hometown, her school, all of that, most likely.
The chronic what calls of Kendall Gray. That's what we're going to get. I think she is great. Like, I think her time in NXT will come. I am happy that we went with Lola. I think that she's been working hard and also definitely deserves the NXT Championship. But I think Kendall Gray is like lighting fire right now. Like, she's catching on fire. Since showing up here in NXT, we were like very like, oh, this girl's pretty good. And then it was the Iron Survivor match that we were like, put the rocket on her right away. Like, and then now I think the more people have seen her in the last few weeks, that they're seeing the same thing of like, oh, is this like Kurt Angle? Is this like, she's so new to this, but the wrestling side of it, like she's definitely has it. But I think back to, you were here still when a few weeks ago she did that backstage segment
with a cake,
where she randomly grabs a cake and shoves it in her face, and they're like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, I was hungry." And we said, or at least I remember saying, like, this is totally them being like, you have to try to like tap into some comedy like Kurt Angle did. Like he was the most well-rounded because he would do silly shit. So when she says in this Chronicle thing, well, you know, sometimes I'm all serious, but you know, I like to get goofy too. And then sure as shit, the only clip of her being goofy they got is just her like, oh, I love this cake. That was my one, like, you really, I really think you got something with her. Like she could be a huge star and should be in WWE, but I still saw what you were doing with this cake nonsense.
But have you seen athletes on cheat day before? They do go a bit like more crazy over a cake. I mean, she did. She said, "I don't have a match today," and that's why she was. That's why she was gorging on the cake. It was still like, it was a bit left field. It was a bit.
It was still out of nowhere. Like someone wrote it really quickly before the show of like, how can we, you know, show the world that you're also very funny and goofy? Well, I could shove a cake in my face. Yeah, let's go with that. I think is how we got here. But
now it's always interesting when you see, you know, we watch NXT every week, and we've been singing her praises for quite a while, and it's always interesting when like the wider wrestling world start to pick up on things, because that was something I noticed, because I when I was away, like I was like, okay, I've got to watch this Kendall Gray versus Lola Vice match, because, you know, Meltzer was praising it and said he thinks Kendall right now is better than Mercedes was at this point in her career, which I would agree with, actually. I think Mercedes was far ahead what women's wrestlers were at that time, but wrestling has evolved, and I think where Kendall Gray is right now, we've watched those NXTs. Like, I do think she's better than her right now, but it opened the discussion, and you started seeing all this stuff online, like, who is Kendall Gray? Is she as good as people are saying? And people going like, yeah, she's pretty good. And then people going and finding her and being like, wow, I'm really impressed by this wrestler. So it feels like her name is starting to like penetrate a bit to the outside of the Performance Center walls now.
I mean, if you watch that Lola match and then within the same week was the triple threat match, like if that was your first time watching her, then yeah, I think definitely you'd be like, oh wait, maybe the hype is real here. But every time she wrestles on NXT, it's been a treat. So she's easily become one of the best parts of the show. And I don't think they missed on not giving her the title just yet. I think we can still build this proper story. And like I kind of said at the top of the show, NXT has become this like developmental, weird, like let's throw shit at the wall kind of thing. Whereas we have someone like this who could easily pivot into a main roster role. But hey, we know she can wrestle at such a fast pace. Why not start doing like a long-term story? You've got
to find the character stuff, because we know like main roster audience don't particularly care much about the wrestling.
They don't care about your suplexes.
And I think it was actually in hindsight, like, and I'm still sure she'll have a moment, but turning Roxanne Perez heel before moving her up and then having her just slot into Judgment Day, it made her a way more known character now than if she just came up as the prodigy Roxanne Perez. And I think when she breaks out and, you know, let's say Liv wins this title and then you go for the feud there and Roxanne and there, she can level up. And I think maybe that's something they're trying here with Kendall. Like, let's see what else there is we can tap into here, because we're looking at you as potentially one of the biggest women's stars because how quickly you're taking to this and how good you are. But we need to also get a main roster audience to care about you, which is a lot more difficult than making the PC audience care about you.
But for right now, she's great. So I definitely want to see her go further in NXT, but she will be a big star in WWE.
We see Tatum Paxley lying on top of these high storage shelves in the back of the PC, and Robert Stone has climbed up and said, why did you want me up here? Like, I have an office. She says, oh, this is where I do all my thinking. And she says, the more that Blake Monroe is pushed, the more she becomes this vindictive woman from hell. So she's going to send Blake Monroe and a fake title to hell where they belong. And we look down, and Shiloh Hill has bought in a casket. And Tatum Paxley announces that at next week, NXT Revenge Week 2, it will be Blake Monroe versus Tatum Paxley in a casket match.
I thought she was going to say a buried alive match for a second. When she's like, I'm going to bury her in hell. I was like, whoa, we're not doing that, right? But I guess that's what Shiloh was building all day, right? Not a time machine, but very nice casket. He put a lot of nice time and work into this. Great craftsmanship.
He's a fantastic handyman.
Yeah,
he started this at the start of the show. All he had was the list of like items he needed to build with, and
crushed velvet in that thing. What's in there? I think this is a fun match type to obviously do with Tatum's character. And if Blake were to do a casket match, would her be like bedazzled all through the inside, like mirrors and shit, or like her custom one?
Probably,
I guess. But I like the pairing of Shiloh and Tatum kind of being this friendship on NXT where they're both the weird people. I think it can help them both going forward and making people care about the characters. Is it for the title next week?
It is, yeah.
So I hope Tatum retains.
Yeah, do you think Tatum will retain this?
Yeah, she already lost and then she got this. So I just feel like she should retain at this point.
You often see in these kind of matches, like the casket match, the buried alive match, like a character change afterwards, don't you?
The woman from hell.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Blake loses and she comes back more. Like, I know she's teased that character a few times, but maybe more of a visual transformation or something on her return. But I could also see Blake winning this as well.
Vanity Project could help.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think... I feel each time Blake's gone for this title, I thought she's going to win it back, but we'll see.
Well, she's been pretending she's champion.
Yes.
Yeah.
So next week we have the last woman standing match with Sol and Zaruka, Dion Lennox versus Miles Bourne for the North American title, Joe Hendry versus Keanu Carver, and the casket match between Tatum and Blake for the Women's North American Championship.
Yeah. Solid lineup for next week. 2 gimmicked women's matches next week. Very exciting.
We see Dark State backstage, and Lennox is frustrated at Sugars. And Sugars says, look, we've been down, and you don't even care. And he goes, that's not how we roll, fool. We have to worry about Dion's matches, but you keep changing the plan, fool. And Dion says, look, for us to be back on top at NXT, we need gold. And this is our only shot at gold right now. So why risk it? And the other two are like, yeah, bro, he's got a point. And Sugars storms off, furious. Fool.
Yeah, this group needs to break up, but they're doing the classic NXT thing of we're going to tease the breakup for 2
breakup
years.
will come in 18 months. Yeah.
Yeah. So not my favorite story of these guys. I don't even think they're that bad. And I think they could easily go into like better characters, but I just don't care about this group.
I think Lennox wins it next week. The chat's been saying Sean often struggles booking baby faces when they're champions, a current issue in wrestling. And we were saying it, like Miles felt a bit generic earlier in his promo. So I think maybe this could be a bit of a, they're showing dissension and it's maybe a bit of a ruse to throw Miles off. And I could see Dion winning this next week.
Sure. Give him something to do. And yeah, I think he's fine. So maybe that's the right call. I don't know. I would have gave it to Johnny.
We go to our NXT Women's Championship match. Lola Vice in her first defense against Jacy, Jayne, and sorry, 1 second there. We get a seated senton from Lola early on, taking out Lainey Reed, and as Lola is distracted by Lainey, Jacy takes her out with a big knee. And after the break, Lola is lighting up Jacy with her quick kicks, her spinning kicks, her quick feet, and tells everyone that she is a Latina before doing the running hip attack in the corner. Laney distracts Lola once again and goes back in the ring, but eats a knee to the face from Jacy for a 2 count. As the ref is distracted by Jacy, Laney has Lola in a kind of rope submission, and as Fallon hits her 619 around the ring post, didn't get all of it here, but this was how Jacy originally won the title. So Lola is then rolled into the ring, is hit with the rolling encore from Jacy. 1, 2, but it's a kick out. We then get a guillotine submission from Lola as Jacy is trying to power out of it. So Lola runs up the ropes to have it locked in deeper. Jacy counters that into a roll-up, and then we get a roll-up from Lola, but she gets pushed into the ropes as Laney is there to deliver a stiff right hand right to the mush. Lola turns around into a rolling encore attempt from Jacy, but Lola ducks and hits the spinning back fist and pins Jayne to retain the women's championship.
Back fist looks good. Lola's really perfected it, right? And Jacy sells it like whoever gets that back fist sells it like you're getting shot almost. Like you just drop instantly. It looks really great. Unfortunately, that 619 by Fallon didn't look good. I don't know if it was necessarily her slipping up or Lola not being able to see, so could not sell
from the submission. Yeah,
she couldn't see. So imagine someone's beating on you. You don't know how to sell because you don't know they're actually hitting you. So it was an unfortunate perfect storm there. But as it was happening, I was almost yelling at my TV like, oh no, oh. And then I'm like, is she gonna eventually sell it? But then I don't think she realizes it was happening. But fun back and forth. I think it didn't get to the level of like obviously the last few Lola matches, but I think it was pretty fun, and it made me think this was the end of Jayne in NXT. I see someone in the chat now, and then I saw some people on social media saying that it looked like afterwards that she kind of blew some kisses to the Performance Center and looked like maybe she was a little emotional. So maybe this was the last of Jayne on NXT. Maybe it's the end of Fatal Influence. Maybe they get called up. I'm not sure, but we're in the new era with Lola Vice here because
Fallon is still speed champion, right?
Right. Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
No, I know. I'm just thinking how soon we can do this call up, and would it be likely that both are together or not? Because I'd like to see Fallon move up as well.
Like, what if you did Jacy first, like on Monday night, and then in a few weeks or months, she even adds more to her like heel story and character.
I mean, you could like if you were to move Jacy up, you could move like Fallon to take the title from Lola, and then you could have Kendall be the one to defeat Fallon, because Kendall's been in that Fatal Influence mix as well, perhaps. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a real shame that 619 didn't quite connect, because I thought that would have been a really good near fall. And I think NXT quite a lot do the quick title change, especially with baby faces. They have a baby face win the title, and then a couple of weeks later, they've already dropped it. And I thought they did a good job with doing the Fatal Influence near falls, the different ways we've seen them retain the title over the years. And but it was a shame that didn't quite connect. I enjoyed the match, and I'm happy for Lola. I think we've been saying a while it's time to level her up, and I think she has improved. And I enjoyed this.
After the match, everyone in the women's roster comes out and stares her down.
Yeah, so you have Callie Armstrong's the first one out. She lays out Fatal Influence on the floor. Then we have Kendall Gray pops up on the apron and says hello. We have Izzy Dame on the perch. And then Sol Ruka comes out before getting attacked by Zarya. Or was it the other way around? Yes. So they're brawling as the show goes off the air.
So there's our women's division going forward in the world of NXT. But yeah, you know what? There was some fun stuff on this. We had some title matches. I thought it was a fun episode. Like nothing necessarily blowing my mind, but at least it kept my attention. Obviously, you heard the stuff we didn't like and nitpicked apart, but for the most part, for a weird time for NXT, like all this WrestleMania stuff is happening, and NXT's on its own little island. but hey, we're still going. And even though it's WrestleMania week and everything, they managed to pull out some fun stuff. It was fun.
I enjoyed this week's show. I thought it was pretty strong. It was pretty loaded with all your title matches. I think next week's looks pretty good as well. And I am curious sort of what call-ups we're going to get, who's going to step up. Like always, I think the women's division is in like fine hands. Like Jacy's been, I think people don't necessarily like sing her praises enough, but I think she's been very good for the women's division the last year and has leveled up some people around her as well. But you've got some great women there still. Kelani, Lola, obviously, Kendall. This Callie Armstrong looked pretty impressive this week. So it's still the men's division that I'm a little less on, but I really enjoyed that speed match this week.
Well, we got Belgium dude. We got some cruiserweights. We got Vanity Project. They're moving some things around. I definitely think after WrestleMania, a nice reset of like, if we lose some more people of where we go in the next few weeks. But yeah, there you go. That was NXT. That was our thoughts. If you agree, disagree, let us know in the comments, the chat, whatever it is. We also have a Facebook page called Poisonrana Podcast. You can give us a follow, but it will take you to the Facebook group where we post feedback threads such as the ones we read here. Do we have any tonight?
Oh, yes. Let me have a look. Sorry, I'm not on the ball.
It's okay.
I'm rusty.
I think I have one here. Yes. We see Sean who writes in. Sean McTeer, this episode was a big improvement over the last week and a return to the higher level that NXT has been operating at over the last several months. All the matches were great, and the announcements for matches for week 2 of Revenge were very intriguing, especially the casket match between Tatum and Blake and Joe versus Keanu. I will say that Soul is not doing a great job of convincing me that she's the babyface in this feud. If anyone is wondering why Soul hasn't moved up to the main roster, I suggest her promo work is the reason. Other highlights this week included a great promo from Miles as he plays mind games with Darkstate, a great video for Kendall Gray, and weekly MVP Shiloh Hill, who continues the Chelsea Green trend of maximizing whatever screen time he's given by being memorably bonkers. Looking forward to next week.
Yeah.
So he's kind of, he said he agrees on some of the things there, saying some of the character work and everything. Maybe Sol Ruca promo is the one weakness in her game.
Yes. Was that it for feedback?
There's one more from Megan.
Okay.
Who writes in here, NXT's answer to Backlash is off to a good start. Change is sweeping through the place. 2 main champions got their title runs to a strong start. I don't see Dorian Van Dukes staying in Evolve for an extended period of time. He's got the goods. So does Prosper. I want to see a long-form match with these two. The main event was predictably very strong. Callie Armstrong mowing down Fatal Influence like bowling pins was a cool visual, and Jacy Jayne had her time closing shot is further proof the women's division is in very good hands with Lola being the centerpiece. Revenge is going to continue to cycle some people out of the territory. Sol Ruca is going to have her final sunset. I think a few people next week will probably be the last NXT for some of these characters.
Maybe.
But yeah.
And we had a super chat from Jake from the Windy City, $5. Thank you very much, Jake. He says, it's embarrassing the main build to WrestleMania is low ticket sales and company politics. It's true, but didn't need to be part of the angle. Reeks of WCW 2000. And yes, that's a good reminder that we will be recording on Thursday a preview, a whole build, our thoughts on the creative, on the matches, our predictions, and all that for WrestleMania will be available on our free feed, Poisonrana Pod.
Yes, we'll talk all about Jelly Roll, Pat McAfee, Dodge Rams, 25% offs, buy one of a extravaganza, or whatever the man said one time.
Yeah.
A whole lot to talk about WrestleMania. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, NXT friends, we will be back next week right here, same time, same channel, as we talk about week 2 of NXT Revenge and all the fallout from WrestleMania. We have so much stuff planned this week, obviously here at postwrestling.com. Join Davie and I with John and Way tomorrow, 1 p.m. live, as we talk about some best and worst of WrestleMania over the years. But again, follow us on the socials at Poisonrana Pod, Twitter, Insta, whatever you use to keep updated of when we have all these other shows. We will drop for your Thursday evening or early Friday commute a big free edition of a WrestleMania 42 preview. Plus, we'll talk about Dynamite from tomorrow night and whatever else. But hear our Dynasty review from last Sunday, and so much more. Follow us on your YouTube or podcast app. Search Poisonrana Pod. Give us a follow, and appreciate everyone. Hope we're having a good WrestleMania week. Whether you're in the spirit or not, there's WWE to watch. There's GCW. There's the Collective. There's the Hitchcock review. There's all the shows that TNA wrestlers will be pulled from. There's all the fun stuff happening this week, and appreciate you here for the ride. So happy WrestleMania week, everybody. All right.
Absolutely.
You can hear my voice. I'm still destroyed from this weekend. So I think it's time for us to take care. Goodbye and be safe.
Ahoy!